you got me going crazy. I'm feeling hazy. This red got my head feeling dizzy. I get
Nice.
Perfect. So this is Dallas.
Hi.
Hey, Dallas.
I'm Adam.
I'm Alex.
Nice to
This
meet you.
is Badalt.
Hello.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too. Are you excited for your new single?
Yeah, we are excited for the new single.
Yeah, super excited. Happy Friday.
Because Adam, you produced it, or what do you? How would you introduce to people yourself?
Yeah, I produced the track. I did. And I've been working with Dallas for a few years now, and I've been producing music for like all my life, pretty much. So.
I see. What about you, Dallas? When did you get into music?
I started pretty young. I started singing and writing my own music when I was 6. I'm 22 now, and I started taking it more seriously when I got into high school, and I actually went to school for musical theater. So I went to New York City for that, and kind of came back and realized I didn't really want to focus on a Broadway career. I wanted to focus on, writing my own music and, making myself kind of pop that way and be a pop star.
When did you start to work together? Did you know each other? How was it?
We got introduced through a mutual party, but we started working together pretty closely around almost 3 years ago. So back in 2017, I believe.
We did one song. If you want like the full story, we did one track together, and then she, like she said earlier, she was in school in New York. So I wasn't sure if I was actually going to see her. Like I thought in my gut, I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to see this person again, because like I love the work that we, like the music that we created. And then when she came back from New York, it was just like, she's like, I want to do this. Like, let's make music. Let's make it work. And then we just kind of made it work.
Yeah, it's hard to find people like that you click creatively with, right? So like you have that gut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I got really lucky because I didn't know much about this industry, like coming into it. But I got really lucky. Like Adam was the first person I sort of met who knew a lot more than I did and who had a better perspective on like how to sort of channel through it. So I felt like I was lucky meeting him, and like we've been working with each other ever since. So yeah.
Okay. And how do you compose? I mean, how did you do the lyrics or the melody, the rhythm? What's your formula?
It's kind of different every time, but for Stranger specifically, I'll let Dallas kind of take the wheel on this one and tell you how it kind of started.
Yeah, I feel like when we create, like Adam said, it kind of happens differently every single time. But with Strangers, I wrote it back on Valentine's Day in 2019. And yeah, exactly. I feel like everyone knows. It's like,
Yeah.
classic. But it was kind of like a late night, and I called Adam and I was like, do you want to go back to the studio and create? So we came back. I started on the keyboard, created the chords that you hear in the song. And honestly, the song wrote itself in like 20 minutes. Like I felt like I had been trying to write the song for so long. And like, I don't know, that night it just kind of hit me and the words were just like flowing the way they needed to. And yeah, we didn't really change much about it other than the production in the last little bit of the song.
So it just came out of you. Do you find it a little easier for you to write your own music? Because I know a lot of artists kind of don't have that, right? You can have a nice voice, pretty voice, be a good singer, but if you don't know how to write your own music, at the end of the day, you kind of, you don't really make it that far.
No, I mean, all I know is writing my own music. I didn't start as like, oh, you have a pretty voice, let's set you up with songwriters. I started as a songwriter when I was 6. So all I do know is writing my own music. And I feel like I'm more comfortable doing that than having someone else do it for me. That's not to say that like I wouldn't want to or haven't written for other people. Like I definitely enjoy that as well. But when it comes to my own music, like I definitely prefer writing it myself and with Adam.
What do you do without? Like, what's your process?
Was that to me?
Badalt?
Yeah.
No, I'm
that's
asking. What's your
what's my
process for when you? Yeah.
To be honest, my process, like, it's always evolving. Back in the day, like, I started off recording like rock bands like when I was 16 years old, but like right now my process is like I want to just produce on a hit song. I need to hear and feel the melody. I need to connect with the words. Even if I didn't go through that experience, like I want to find some relation to what's happening in the song, and then I basically create like an amusement park in the production. I just kind of go where the melody goes, and I just like, I trust my instincts, I trust my gut, and I trust the way it makes me feel. Like if it makes me feel good, like especially the next day, and if I listen back to what I did the night before and I'm just like, whoa, like that's deep, that feels really good, then I know I have something. But if I wake up the next day and I'm just like, I'm not 100% sold on it, then I just keep working on it until I have something that I really, really like, you know? So I know there's a lot of, beat makers and producers that are like, I just make songs in 10 minutes. And that's cool. Sometimes it happens that way. But there's also some songs that can take like a month, 2 months. Like Strangers, if you really think about it, that song took a year.
Yeah.
Because it almost.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't revisit it until like we decided, until quarantine started. So yeah, it did take a while.
Yeah. So that's kind of my process. And I like to, let the artists be themselves. Like I want them to be independent and not dependent on others to, make them a hit record. It's like, no, it has to come from the artist. It has to be real. It has to be, that's it. It just has to be real. If it's real, I'll feel it. And then the production is just going to be next level. That's kind of my process in a nutshell.
And what type of music do you listen? What's your influence to compose? I mean, the both of you.
For me personally, I grew up listening to like my mom showed me all like the different like, different pop culture movements in music through like all the eras. And I also listen to a lot of weird music. Like I don't know if you guys like Radiohead, but I feel like they are like Johnny Greenwood is a crazy composer. Yeah. And funny enough, like I don't really listen to like much popular music now. Like I listen to a lot of classical music. Chopin is dope. Beethoven's dope. Blink-182 obviously is amazing for like they're like my childhood heroes. Like I like everything. I love jazz. Skrillex is awesome too. Like I'm just all over the place. I don't really like just one style. And then
I'm the same. I feel like growing up I sort of listened to everything like all at once. Like I was definitely growing up, I was a big, in terms of pop, like I loved Britney Spears, but then like same as him, sort of more on the punky side, like Blink-182, Evanescence was a big one for me. And then kind of in my adolescence, like Rihanna, Ariana Grande, The Weeknd. So it kind of gets into like more alternative R&B vibes. I definitely listen to everything.
Who do you guys like?
Oh, well, that's my reason why I asked Badalt to join, because I didn't listen to any music in high school ever, like, or nothing. So like into my 20s, I started listening, and like I like Selena Gomez and Bruno Mars on repeat, basically. But that's it, So it's odd. What about you, Badalt?
Well, I really love Joy Division, Dead Can Dance, Depeche Mode. I'm crazy about them. I don't know why. Even my music sounds a little bit like them. I don't know why. It's a group that changed my life in all senses. And I don't know, post-punk. It's a big influence for me, and all the goth stuff. I don't know if you know Dead Can Dance, but it's like really orchestral rock, and I don't know, and Radiohead also. Radiohead is I don't know the word, but it's an icon. It's a global it's a global influence, I think, because they take every gender and they play. That's the important thing. They have fun with the music, and I think the music it's like that. You need to have fun with it, and I don't know. I really love the music that makes me feel happy and makes me feel, I don't know, makes me feel funny.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Radiohead just knows how to fill your they just hit all the right spots musically. And if you
They're
like Depeche
crazy.
Mode, do you like Nine Inch Nails?
Yes, of course. They were here in Mexico, and that was amazing. Trent Reznor is a beast.
He's a beast. I know. I agree. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What do you guys think that the new era of the internet, like being able to do it all yourself, like not being beholden to like a record company, like the middleman to be an artist? How does that? Well, like Dallas, you grew up in that, right? Like that's basically, I guess Adam could answer it better, but you couldn't be a singer or a star if there wasn't a record company producing, like MTV putting the videos up and whatnot. Now you have YouTube. Everybody has a podcast, a music, and put it on Spotify. What do you think?
I mean, I'll give my brief answer, but let Adam sort of go more in depth about it.
Yeah, go for it.
I feel like it's definitely a lot easier now to make it without a record label. And as an independent artist, like I feel like I want to, build my career as much as I can without a label being behind me, because that way I'm the sole writer with Adam on my music. So I'm going to be making most of the royalties. And there's going to be no middleman to be taking like 80% or 90% of my career that I'm working 10 times harder to create than they are, So that would be my sort of insight. Like I definitely want to try and, build my fan base and do all of it as much as I can on my own and build like a smaller, more intimate team than have, a well-known record label behind me who's taking a lot more of my career from me. Mm-hmm. But Adam will probably...
sorry, I just want to just clarify, like you're asking me like what do I think of the differences between like the times now versus back then? Is that
basically like you think you could have been in the same position now if it was still like it was before producing music?
You're asking a very great question, and I think my honest to God answer is that I know that a lot of kids now are making it, and they're without like a record label, and that's great. Everyone is really exercising their independence, and that's cool. But the one thing that I feel it's a tough. The one thing that I feel like hasn't really changed is that it's all dependent on the kids, right? Like even these major labels back then, like you have a band like Nirvana. Let's talk about them for a second. Nirvana became like the poster boy image of like grunge music, but like if they didn't have fans, if people didn't like the music that they were making, I don't know if Nirvana would be Nirvana. You know what I mean? Yeah, the label at the time, like they had more, I guess you could say, leverage to be like, oh, we can take this product and exploit it and put it on all the biggest tours and on MTV and Much Music here in Toronto and all this stuff. But like, it's kind of similar now. Like if Dallas, for example, generates a fan base of like 1 million people in Canada, the record label would come to Dallas and be like, hey, knock, knock, knock on your door. It's like, we want you. They just want to see that like there's proof of concept. Then they're going to, because at the end of the day, the record label is just a bank. They're going to give you the money. They're going to be like, here's your advance. We're going to give you access to our channels. But even with that access now, in my opinion, it's not a guarantee that the kids are going to like it. The kids have to like the music. And I just think that to kind of like conclude my answer, the more true you are to yourself and the more real you are with your music, I don't feel like there's nothing to really worry about. I feel like before, like there was this whole like narrative that was built. Like when I was in high school, like the biggest thing was you need to get signed by Universal. You need to get signed by Warner. You need that in order to be really famous and really popular. But as a kid in high school who doesn't really have like a business mind about how it really works in the real world, it's really simple. Just build your business. It's the same thing as selling soap or selling iPhones. If you have a good product, people will talk about it and it'll sell. So that's that. I think that the only thing I disagree about with the labels is trying to make an artist or trying to tell them who they are or who to be just so that they could sell. Like I love the traditional like organic. Let's just build great songs, and if the fans come to the shows and if they love you, they'll talk about it. That's it. I don't know if that kind of answers your question, but
yeah. How is it in Mexico about that? Like, is it much different to be an artist over there?
Well, no, here is pretty common to be independent. I think the only thing that I miss, like I don't know, my teenage dream was to be discovered. This I don't know. It's
Validation.
yes, yes, because as an independent artist, sometimes it's difficult to find your way, your channel, and I think that music record helped you with that, with where you can go or which type of people like your music or not. I don't know. It's Spotify. It's a really blind spot for me because I don't know which type of people like my music. I have a lot of different different opinion about being free of a label. I think I miss this like American dream, like Aiton said, to be discovered by Universal, by Sony, and to feel in peace about your career, to feel
Or you feel taken care of, like guided, more like a mentor.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's. No, I'm sorry. What?
No, I was saying I totally understand that, but at the same time, there's a ton of people that sign record deals every day that you never hear of.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where it comes back down to the music just has to be. That's why I encourage every independent artist is like, just don't stop. You'll find your channel. Like I release, as you know, like I release like my Sunday videos every week, and it's like I had zero intentions of like wanting to be popular or giving a shit about that, but like I'm generating fans, people that are actually interested. But that's just because it's been a year of me doing it nonstop. It's just like you got to just commit to something, and the path will just like unfold. You know what I mean? People will just start gravitating to that energy, and they'll be like, "Yo, like I love this girl," or "I love this guy." You know, so that would be my advice to any artist.
Yeah.
So that's like I had a question, some similar to that. I was chatting with a friend of mine in Toronto that was a clothes designer, and I asked him like, "What's your formula? How do you just get inspired and you create new clothes?" Like, no, it's a whole system. If I have to look at what's going on in the runways, and it's basically a business, like key performance indicators and see what's going on. And I was blown away. Is that the same for you?
For me, yeah. Like I look at what's going on in the world, not just music. Like even with COVID, like Dallas and I had intentions of releasing other music that sounds completely different from the Strangers song, but because of the pandemic, I asked Dallas, I'm like, I think maybe we should pause on this song because I don't think that the feeling of this record goes with the feeling of what's happening in the world right now. Because it was like it's a really heavy, like guitar-driven record. So she came back at me. She's like, "What about if we did this?" And I was like, "I like that. It makes way more sense based on like the vibe of like what's going on internationally." But one thing I will say, I never try to copy like what's hot now. I used to like try to just produce, like when Skrillex came out and dubstep was huge, I was like, I need to know how to make music just like that. But I'm glad I did. I don't regret it, but I wouldn't advise anybody, like even like everybody now is like, I want to be a famous rapper. It's like the guys that already made it and have like kind of cemented their brands and businesses in that genre, they're going to be very hard to take. You can't take guys like that out. It's like a guy saying, I want to be the next Drake. No, just let Drake be Drake, because you're not going to surpass Drake sounding like Drake. Do something different. Do something that you really love and that speaks to you, because I think kids are getting smarter, and I think not that they were ever done access to like so much information and so many like quotes on social media to like mind expand. I just think that kids can see through bullshit, and that's why I just think that everyone just needs to try to stay as true to the music as possible.
Yeah, the process, like, I mean, it is a process, even like beyond the music, because it's like first you create the song, then you go back and revisit it, make sure it's 100%, then you got to mix and master it. Then as an independent artist, like I said, you don't have a label who's going to, distribute the song for you. You want to find, the proper PR. You want to find, like you said, Spotify is a very hard, channel to sort of navigate. You have to, do your extensive research and try and find playlists and do this and do that. Like it just keeps going. So it is a process, even like beyond the music. Like half the time when we're gearing up to release a single, we're doing a lot more, as Adam will call it, police work of just trying to find, blogs to get the song on, playlists, people to talk about it, repost it. Like it's a lot more than just the music.
Well said.
And I want to ask you about your video clip. I think always less is more, and that's why I love the video, because it's pretty simple, it's pretty intimate. So where do you film it? Who was the director? How was it?
Yeah, so the director I've been working with since I started music. So I feel like I got pretty lucky in terms of just finding really good people to work with right off the bat. I don't think that happens often, but his name is Travis Didluck and Lee Zavitz. They're also based in Toronto. They also directed my other 2 videos prior, so Superpowers and Spaceship. And it's definitely a lot different than Superpowers, and it's different than any video I've done before because, like you said, it's very just, I don't want to say laid back, but it's very minimal. Like it more so touches on the emotion of the lyrics. And that's what I wanted to focus on with this video was just, I didn't want a whole theatrical performance. I just really wanted it to be like very simple and focus more so on what's going on in the lyrics and the production of the song.
Right. Thanks. So,
did you guys feel like you have to, like Adam, you were touching about it, that you create stuff every Sunday, right? Do you feel like to be I don't want to call it a professional artist, but a complete artist, or that you have to be producing constantly, even you want to or not? It has to be a practice. Like painters, they would try to paint every day, not just when they're inspired, to become a professional. Like I said, I don't want to say professional artist, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think you can't force it at the same time though, like I kind of have the mentality of like, I'm going to the studio and I need to make it, like I need to start composing something. But like, for example, like it was like 2 days ago or something like that. I was sitting at my computer. I was like pressing buttons, going off samples, playing some guitar, but like nothing was turning my brain on. Nothing was making me feel like, oh, I love this. So like I went home that night. I was kind of feeling defeated, but I try not to hold on to those feelings. Like if ever I'm feeling like down, I just try to like, meditate, breathe, and just let that negative thought just like get out of my system and not react. And then I came back to the studio the next day and I made something dope. And then Dallas came in yesterday and she actually wrote on it. So I was like, okay, cool. Like we have, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, because, some artists have writer's block too, where they just can't write anything. They're not feeling any, I don't know. We say in Italian culture, like voglia, they have no like drive to, be the best or write the best song, but it's all good. Like it comes when it comes, and when it does come, it's a really exciting feeling, and things just start like, it's like kind of building a puzzle, and like you're building that puzzle and like things are like all the pieces are just fitting like effortlessly. That's what I live for. I love those moments when everything just like flows perfectly and you don't have to think so much. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Mostly of like, you said you'd like suggest that people, because if you didn't go to the studio, sit down in the first place, even though you weren't inspired, maybe that wouldn't have started your gears going, right?
It's true. Everything happens for a reason. I feel like creatively, like I'm a really sensitive dude, and anything that happens in my day affects my music. It affects my lyrics. It affects my melodies. It affects the sounds I use. It affects the drums. If I'm pissed off, maybe I'll make something with really heavy 808s and drums. If I'm feeling like emotional, maybe I'll write a sappy emo song. Like it really just depends on, it's mood based.
I think it also depends on the person, because like Adam is a night owl and I am not a night owl. Like most artists I feel like are night owls, but I feel like I definitely, once I hit that like spot at like 1 in the morning, like I am slowing down and like I need to recharge in order to wake up the next day, feel refreshed and like get the work done. But yeah, there's definitely moments where like things are flowing so easily and you're not thinking about it. And then there's other days where it's like, oh, you're writing, but it's definitely not your greatest song. But, you know, you're still in the studio, you're still doing something to try and benefit your career.
Mm-hmm. I want to say one thing just to add to what Dallas is saying. I know she said she's not a night owl, but we went to LA once and she stayed up till pretty much 5 a.m.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. almost every single day. We worked so hard. And I was pretty impressed that she was able to keep up with our no sleep schedule that time in LA. But anyways, that's.
Well, why were you inspired? Because I feel like I need to be, because I'm a storyteller. Like I like to create stories and whatnot, and just create content. I need to have like beautiful surroundings to be inspired. The one thing when I went to. One thing that when I moved to Canada was very different for me is that there was no statues, there was no beautiful buildings. To my like older buildings, I mean, and like when I went to Quebec, that's very different. Or when I went to Spain, I was very different. Or like Austria, like 7-story tall statues, and that kind of stuff inspires me to create. Right, so like my surroundings really need to be beautiful, I guess, to inspire me to create something to match that kind of beauty. Do you feel that way too, or can you just create and go like in your basement, unfinished basement, and start writing music?
I feel like I can definitely sort of create based on whatever surroundings I'm in. I feel like Adam is the same. However, he definitely talks a lot more of like wanting to be in a space like you just sort of described, where it's a lot more like, for him, he wants something more like serene and like naturesque, even a word? Naturesque. Like he wants something a lot more on those lines, which I would obviously be down for because I don't like the cold. So I'm looking to get out of here too. But I feel like for the time being, like I can sort of work with what I am around, but I definitely like can feel you on that one. And I think so can Adam.
Definitely, bro. I sometimes when I'm producing, I'll open up I have like a few computers, and on one screen, I'll just like put imagery of like ocean waves. I'm a big like water guy. Like I love the water. I love the ocean, and it's been my dream to, you know, create on the beach. I want to have like a studio house kind of thing right on the beach, and I just want a big bowl of fruit. And I want to write some good songs and just go swimming when I'm, you know, feeling maybe a little bit uninspired. But I feel like in that environment, I don't know. It's just because I did it once before. Like I've been to cottages like right on the water. I've been on cruise ships where like I'm creating on the balcony and you see the stars and you see the waves and it's just, I don't know. I create differently when I'm, you know, when I see different kind of environments. That's all.
You have anything to add about that, Badalt?
I don't know. I think that to create something, it depends of the type of art you are living with. For example, in my music, it's all about sadness and frustration. I don't know. That's my motor. I don't know why. But when I'm acting, I can do it every day because I need to have a standard because I work a lot. I act a lot. So I don't have the time to be inspired. I need to have to have always the machine going, to have always fuel. And in the music, I take it really slowly. I produce every 2-3 months, something like that, because I need to be really affected, really dark, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, we're ending. Sorry.
No, that's a good.
So that's for me. I think sometimes you need to be inspired, and sometimes you just need to be professional and to have results. You know.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Well said.
Do you have it? Did you, like you said, you put out this song because of COVID-19 and the whole isolation? Were you guys able to produce or create anything creatively because of the isolation, or did that put a stamper in your flow?
It definitely put a stop to a lot of things. Like Adam sort of mentioned, I was actually gearing up for my first headlining show at a pretty like prominent venue down in Toronto. We were only like a week away, and we had been working on the show for like 3-4 months, and obviously everything got shut down. So we had to postpone the show. We had to postpone all of our releases. The studio was closed because at the time, no one was really leaving their houses. So we didn't see each other for 2-3 months. And we tried. We did Zoom sessions. We tried the Zoom sessions, and it was just really difficult for me personally trying to record vocals at home when I'm so used to recording them here. Like, I don't have the gear that Adam does, so I had to sort of buy a few things to try and get him a decent vocal, but it was definitely a lot harder than what we're used to.
Yeah, and as for me, I was just trying to, COVID changed a lot of people's lives, and obviously I was sad and a little bit mentally, just, I guess, shocked that everything had to, I was readjusting, because Dallas and I had made this plan like a year in advance, and I was just like, holy shit, I was kind of thinking a little catastrophically, not gonna lie. I was losing my mind a bit, but then I just accepted it. I'm like, there's nothing you could do to change the situation, so just be a man, deal with it, stop bitching, and just go make music. So that's what I did, and I was just literally in my basement, and I wasn't here. I brought some of my stuff home, and I was just trying to make beats, make tracks, and then the ones that I felt were good for that were kind of swimming in Dallas's lane, I sent them to her, and she wrote. She was at the cottage, and she was just writing, and she recorded some demos, but then literally when we decided, okay, I think it's time to go back to the studio, we had so much. How many songs did we have? We had 5 or 6 new songs that you needed to record just from quarantine that were worthy of being recorded. It was a whole EP right there. But anyways, I think COVID, I was mad in the moment, but I think it was a blessing in disguise.
Just to start wrapping things up, are you looking for more artists, Adam? You have your own studio?
Yeah. To be honest, the artist thing, it depends. I'm always kind of looking, I guess, but I'm more so just focused on what I have. My ear, and I think what I should say is that my ear is always open. I'm not actively going to look for a new artist because I'm busy. We have so much stuff to do, just us two. And however, if somebody sends me something I really want to do a record, they just have to have something because something special about them, because the old Adam would nurture, develop, this is how you do this and this is how you do that. But the stage that I'm at in my life right now, I feel I'm attracting artists that are already on that level. So as long as the artist has something special about them, then maybe I'll consider doing, songs with them. But right now we're just focused on this.
Do you have anything to add about that? Just to wrap it up?
Yes, I really like to know, where can we listen to your songs, and what about your video clip premiere? When? At what time? What can you say to us?
Yeah, so you can listen to my music basically on any streaming platform, Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, however it is that you like to listen to your music, just under Dallas. And I'm releasing Strangers this Friday, July 17th at 12 a.m. So yeah, the video and the song will be out then. So make sure to check that out when it comes out.
Sure.
Thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Adam, Badalt, for
Thank you so much.
being part of the podcast.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for believing in the video and, setting aside time to speak with Dallas and I. We won't forget this. We're forever grateful, for everyone that, believes in us and helps us out from the beginning. And we're looking forward to seeing this. I guess maybe Alexander will probably send me the link when it's
yeah,
live.
We're trying to edit it to today and tomorrow to have it ready for release Thursday morning-ish, so it can be before your release.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Out for now. Have a good day.
You too.
I want you to take me on a space.